Alright, welcome to another segment of Power Play Garage on this F250. As you've seen Sunday's video, most likely, hopefully, maybe, had to do with the engine and getting it in color. So my next point of interest, the valve cover's got to be cleaned up and then sealed up and put on. But my biggest point of interest today is all these parts cleaned up, and the ones that are going to get painted, start the process of painting them. But yeah, a lot of this stuff really needs to be cleaned. Like, look at that alternator. I don't know what the heck is all over it, but I would like it to look pretty decent going on there. Get all the oil like off the power steering pump, things like that. And put more stuff together, like the flex plate onto the engine. I believe I have enough room to sneak that in there. Oh no, I won't be able to actually get a torque wrench on that. So I guess when I go to put it in, I'll put it on and make sure I Loctite them and torque them. So, and I'm going to get myself a set of new plugs to put in there. I'm going to put the fuel pump on. Fuel pump I don't want to paint. It looks pretty new. I like the way it looks. But I want to get started on all this. So, and also today I should be able to roll that out. I'm going to do my best. I have to find a way to support the transmission. As you can see, I have a jack stand underneath there, keeping it up in the air. I really don't want to pressure wash it here in the building, but if I have to, I will. But anywho, that's the plan. That's the scoop. So I can't get any of this stuff done if I'm on this camera pointing all this out. So until the next spot, the next start, the next thing, stand by. Okay, as you can see, the truck is further outside of the building, the front half, because I just got done pressure washing it. Now I'm about to take the blower to it. I started actually to make her clean as I can get her. I bought some chemical for it and not a big fan of it. I tried it. The one I really wanted wasn't there. And I didn't want to waste any more time driving someplace else to get what I wanted. But the good thing is this wasn't a nasty engine bay, but it did need to be cleaned up some, and that's what I did. So between even in there and the front axle and all the parts underneath, that cleaned up. I also picked up spark plugs, Motorcraft. Let's see what kind was in there. I brought one with me. Autolights, I believe. Yes, Autolights, and that's fine. But Ford, especially newer, or it doesn't even matter. I shouldn't even say specially, but Motorcraft is the better way. Here they are for any Ford engine, unless they're brand new ones, and I don't know what they're running in any of the higher performance engines like the Coyotes. I have no idea. There could be NGKs in them, but these older ones, it's a sure thing, Motorcraft, and that's what's going back in there, being that new ones need to go in there. So for now, I want to get in there with the air and kind of blow all this stuff out and then pull the truck back into the building, put it in its place. And then I'm going to put some of the parts on there. They're hanging up over there. I want to put them on, get them out of the way, clean those, and get them painted. So until the next one, next thing, the next part, stand by. Okay, I'm back. And there's Puss in Boots. Yeah, she's on top of the car. She's got that evil look in her eye. When I went over to put my tablet on there, I saw her footprints and I looked up and there she was. Her ears were sideways and her eyes were slanted, like she's angry if I chase her away or something. Don't worry, Puss in Boots. I'm not going to chase you away. But alright, I just wanted to bring everybody's attention. Putting the harmonic balancer or the dampener, whatever you want to call it, you should, for these especially, put some silicone or the right stuff on the bolt. And I would also put a little bit, let's see, got to get focused in here as well. Put a little bit around the washer, but definitely on the threads. For some reason, oil will want to come out of there, and we don't want that to happen. So there's no discrepancy or no question. I'm going to do it right in front of the camera. Oop, there we go. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm putting it on the threads. Putting some inside here. And some inside here. On the outside of here, anyway. I want you to make sure you all see that I put it on there. Yep. I think you can see it. Yep. Spread it around a little bit. Make sure she's on the threads nice and good. And then I'm going to focus in on the engine, on the front part. Yeah. There's the spot. I want to get it off my fingers. There is a keyway, obviously. And in this case, keyway is towards the bottom. So obviously you're going to want to line that up. And obviously you can tell. I don't know if it'll reach in there. Yes, it does. So I shouldn't have a problem drawing the dampener harmonic balancer inward. Oh yeah. And now I'll get a torque wrench. It's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 pounds, foot-pounds per square inch. I will verify that, but this puts a wallop on it. Yes, it sure does. And when I go to torque that in place, probably going to have to wait till I have the flywheel on in the back so I have a way to actually stop the crank from turning to put that kind of torque on there. But I just wanted to make this little short video. The fact that I did put the silicone on there. I also put the engine mounts on both sides. Yeah. And then the next thing I'm going to do is clean up the valve covers and silicone them along with the gasket and snug them up, make sure they're in place. What else can I put on here that I have done? Oh yeah, I'm going to put the fuel pump on. I want to get that on and out of the way, which is on this side here. And the truck is back in place where it belongs, back up on the blocks. I did blow it off to get most of the water off of it. I used the dually to pull it back in, and looking forward to getting that thing back in there and move forward. So stand by. All right, I'm back, and I got all the accessory parts that go on the front of this, from the alternator, the power steering pump, all the brackets, the starter. I've taken the pedestal wire wheel over them. I degreased them and taped off the important parts. So let me show you. I've got them all hanging, and they are ready for paint and color and clear. And that'll be tomorrow. There's a lot of little parts, even the dipstick tube, starter, brackets. That one had the pollution pump in it, but part of it is still needed. I would have loved to eliminate that, but you really can't because it's needed to do the other parts that need to be put on in place. And there is the power steering pump, the coil, the pulleys, the lower one, the upper one that the fan is attached to. So it's all ready to go. And I even had to take steel wool to all these basically hand turned bolts to hold down the oil pan. This is a real treat to get off. Geez. But that's where the oil goes, so I'll be picking that up tonight. Yeah, I'll do that on my time. That and some more of that. I went through my inventory again after replacing the inventory, plus what I got. But hey, the parts got to be clean. That took a lot. But anyhow, tomorrow is another day, and I am sure I'll be able to put them in color and clear. And then after that, I should be able to start. Not the same day. Tomorrow, I won't be able to put them on there. They'll definitely need the rest of the day to cure and through the night. So that's the plan. And until then, tomorrow. Peace out. All right, welcome back. It is the next day, Tuesday. And I just got done putting a few coats of Void Black on all the pretty much external parts that will be bolted to the engine. And I'm going to give it plenty of time to flash, let it do its thing it's supposed to do. Let me give you a little close-up shot. And then I will put clear on there. Even the dipstick tube got it, plates, the starter, the alternator. The alternator looked rough. I'm glad I took the wire wheel over that and painted it. So now it's going to look a heck of a lot better. Power steering pump, pulleys, what have you. It's all there waiting to get cleared, but it needs time to flash. So until I clear it, stand by. All right, I'm back, and the clear coat is on. Yep, the parts are done. They are sprayed. Looking really pretty. And for the most part, you're really not going to see much of them. Like the starter, unless you get underneath it, see a little bit maybe from the top. Some of the bracket, you'll catch a little bit of that. The alternator, you'll see. The pulley at the bottom, nah, not really. You won't see much. A little bit of the fan pulley, you'll see. The coil, you'll see. Water pump, I mean, not the water pump, the power steering pump, a little bit of that. But they really needed to be painted. They were looking real shabby. Anyway, he did like the idea of painting the engine, so go ahead and paint it. So it's part of the engine. So until I start putting them on and getting them on that engine, stand by. All right, I'm back. And I believe I got the majority of all the engine components put on. And this area right here, you can see it is for the air conditioning. So because it's still attached and I did not disconnect it, so to leave the charge in there, considering the type of Freon that's in there, I didn't want to play with that. So I'm going to do a little walk around with it. I got a couple more parts I need to snatch up for this. I ordered them today. They'll be in, like the upper radiator hose. I got the lower one. Well, it'll be in. Yeah, all that stuff I think will be in tomorrow. So here's that. Even the coil pack is put back where it belongs. I just got done putting the oil in there, and I put oil in the filter, put the date on there. I gotta tell you, these things are tough to get on and off. But the funny thing is, look how it spins. Interesting enough. It's one thing I discovered for 1984. I'm surprised on the difficulty in getting the average parts for this. The upper radiator hose, the lower one. Oh, it's got to be special ordered, and just other little odds and ends. And I didn't even bring him this little hose yet, which I will. But just it's amazing. And trying to find the seal for the front drive train, the front rear, I'm going to have to hopefully clean and look for numbers on there. They don't show it, and that's with 3 different suppliers: AutoZone, Advance, and Ireland, the good old O'Reillys. But hey, I don't know. I'll get them one way or another. And there's the starter hanging up over there. Let's see. Let me zoom in. And I'm not putting that on until it's actually in the truck. The engine is. Be a little easier because I got to put the plate on and things like that go back here, and then the flex plate. There's a shield that goes on there. And Puss in Boots is on her way down from her nap. I'm sure she wants to get fed. But until now, and until the next spot of filming, stand by. Okay, I'm back. It is the next day. It is Wednesday evening, almost 6:30. And as you can see, I have the engine off the engine stand. I got my new setup here, which will allow me to swing this thing in a circle. It's going to make it a whole lot easier putting it back in the engine bay and hook up to the transmission. But in the meantime, I got to put this plate on there. Kind of, I can't actually put it on, but the flex plate right here with all the bolts, which are clean, and I got my tube, see that, of Loctite, showing that I'll be using Loctite. And I actually have the flex plate marked, even the bolt mark, and there's my mark on the back side of the crank where everything will match up just beautifully. So I'm going to slip this on in place, take the bolts out. Yeah. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. It could be nothing. Don't know. I was just analyzing it. So I want to get two bolts ready. One that has my white mark on it. Yep, have that ready. Ooh, got a little carried away there. That's one. Here's number two. There we go. Put the flex plate on. Make sure that this other plate is not in the way. Here we go. That's number one. Put it on the opposite side. Number two. Now I'll do one at a time for the other four that are left. Putting the Loctite on each one. And you really should put Loctite on these. The last thing you want is the bolts coming out of this. I'm turning them all in by hand, so this way the Loctite is on there. Ooh, got a little carried away there. Ooh, and it got carried away and ended up on the ground. I just dabbed a little bit more on it, just in case the hit knocked any off, which I doubt it. Two more. Yeah. See, I like taking the video of doing stuff like this one so that if someone's really watching it and want to do this themselves, hopefully it helps them. And the other, the camera and the pictures don't lie. So what I'm going to do right now on the last one, because I also post this stuff on Instagram, which carries over to the Facebook page, but my Instagram page is Radical Curves 157 Instagram, and I do a lot of pictures and the videos for this stuff. So I use this big tablet to take the pictures. It doesn't have a light that comes out of it, but I don't think I really need it. See, so I'm going to show the tube and the bolt and get a picture showing it. And I might have to shed some light on it, which I can do. That might help. And it does. See, focusing in. Yep, I snapped a picture. And there's my proof that I actually put Loctite along with this video on all the bolts. It's important to put the stuff on there like that. It needs it. Just like I put the sealant on the front bolt for the harmonic balancer, because it just goes right in there, and I think oil comes out of it or something. I don't know if you don't do it. So I definitely did it. I don't think this one is big enough, and it isn't. So to show that I'm going to torque it down with this electric one. And actually I'm going to use my 1/2 inch impact because it's got more torque. Yep. It looks like 11/16 or in metric. I'm not really sure. There we go. Shit, I can't even really see it. Need my glasses. It might be 18 millimeter. Not sure. Doesn't matter. Just as long as you torque them good. I cross do it. Kind of double check it. All right, this pan right here is loose like it should be. It didn't get caught in there, and that's very important. So now the next thing I'm going to do is turn this around like these. I even greased this fitting up here just to make sure. And I'm going to, once I have it up in there, I might have to take a strap and hook it up to this to put the angle I need on there. I already have the transmission set the way I need it, the way it came out, and hope that all this stuff lines up and nothing gets in the way. Stand by. Well, I was trying to figure out a way to keep this plate lined up with the rest of the holes, which it does. Problem is keeping it there because there's no like dowel pin sticking out of here to hold it. Dowel pins are on the transmission side. So I'm wondering if I pop out a dowel pin or two, then maybe I could keep it there because it doesn't want to stay there. Well, I guess I'm just going to have to fight with it between getting in and out of the machine, crawling underneath the truck, and get that to work. I even got the oil already in here, but I had to keep the dipstick tube off, which was Puss in Boots' job, and she took it off. Here it is. And then also I can't put the plugs in yet because the headers have to go on there, have to slide up out of the way. So spark plugs can't be in there, which is no big deal. And I did get new ones. I did show that. But even before I put this in there, I got to peel the tape off. So I'm not fighting with it when the engine is inside the engine bay and hooked up. So I can peel the tape off this now and get that done and out of the way. See, just like that. See that? I think you could see that. So I got the other 7 more to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish taking the tape off. It is ready to go in. I know I'm going to be fighting with that plate, but it's part of the course. Pretty much everything is out of the way, and hopefully with any luck, I'll be able to swoop it right in there. And the reason why I'm using this because the engine hoist doesn't go high enough to clear it. I could let the air out of the tires, which would drop it down considerable considering the tires are big. But this is more than capable, and I built this unit itself more than for one reason. So let me get with that, get that done, and I'll get back with you, so stand by. All right, I'm back, and as you can see, the machine is behind me and parked in its spot, and no engine attached. That's because it is in the truck. Yeah, let's take a peek. And I have to take you off the stand. And let me tell you, it was a lot of fun by myself in and out of that machine. But she's placed in there. She looks beauteous. I'm going to get the light out of the way. Because keep in mind, I don't have to just line up the engine to the transmission, but I had to make sure that the flex plate lined up with the torque converter and get that in there, along with that aluminum plate that went between all that. Had to have them all lined up in place so that it could bolt together, and I do have 2 bolts in the transmission into the block. And very comfortably, the engine mounts are where they belong on the frame. Now I'm going to get down in there, hook up some of the bolts, or I should say the nuts, to the torque converter. Put 1 or 2 that I might be able to reach in there before I start, making the engine turn to turn the flywheel or the flex plate, and at the same time get the bolts in place into the transmission, into the block, and make sure that like the transmission dipstick goes in on that bracket on one of the holes, and anything else that needs to line up over there, I got to make sure I get them in that spot. But as you can see, that bad boy's in there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, I got to tell you, and no marks on the engine or the truck. It was fun because that machine likes to settle. It does creep down, like because of the that unit that I built for that. I did make that, and I made it so that it attaches and unattached, just like the rest of any other pieces of attachments that would go on that machine. But that up there in the morning, that will be settled down some, and when it's running and it's got weight on it, it'll move a little bit quicker. Not that it moves fast, but at the same time, it does settle, which changes what goes on under the hood. But enough of that silliness. I got to get in there and get some more of that connected. So, you know what? Today it's Wednesday night, and tomorrow morning I got to post this video. I could even slide the headers up in there, get the new gaskets in. I could do that as well. Maybe I should do that. It might give me more room to get my hands up in there, to get my hands in, to put the bolts in for the transmission, because it's tight underneath there with all the headers and stuff drop down a little bit. Well, I'll have to figure that out once I'm under the truck and go from there. So in the meantime, I think I'm going to end the video here. Yep, and put you back on the stand. And say that this ends this segment on this 1984 Ford F250. A lot of stuff has gotten done to this so far, and I went over the notes the other day just to make sure I got all the parts that he wanted changed out, from brake hoses and the other brake hoses in the front, the one in the back. I have to change the wheel cylinder in the back, which I got all that, all brand new belts, all new hoses, yada, 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 just all those parts, which makes sense. If you're going to do all this. And the new radiator came in today. Let me sit that out there. Let me see. See that in that box right there? Yeah, that's the box. Hopefully it's the exact one needed. it had to go by measurements, and I measured, and they ordered accordingly. So looking forward to all this stuff going back together, and get it fixed, changed, and what have you. Because the other thing I have to do is the top of the truck he wants painted. So I'll be doing some removing of all the components up there, some of them, maybe all of them, it all depends. And then blending and painting that top because he just wants the roof done. And that's good because the nice pinstriping that's on this hood, even the hood might, maybe a buffer can handle brightening it up, but there's a lot of fancy pinstriping on there that I don't think is vinyl. I think it was painted. And it would be very hard for me to match that. I'm not a pinstriper. I really don't want to be a pinstriper, so nevertheless, yeah. I got a lot of work to get all the components back in there hooked up and move forward. And up until then, I do appreciate people watching. Hopefully, if any newcomers, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I'd appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up, make a comment. I know Puss in Boots down here would actually appreciate it. Right, kitty? You want to go in front of the camera? See that? Here she is. Yeah, she wants my attention. But and in the meantime, try to get something done. Until the next segment, have a good night.